Tech Greenhouse's headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona, is a supplier of annual and perennial flowers to the big box stores. And the company quickly became largest and most global grower in the West. This is the composition of the team. So in a SWOT analysis, the first thing you look at is strengths. The team members already rocks well, and also Hoffman is a great seller, and also Torres has a variety of creative ideas. And the weaknesses they have is they don't communicate each other much, so lack of teamwork, and also they have to increase their sales. And also there have been no interaction between greenhouse and corporate. And the great opportunities they have is if there is a certain member who has a weakness, it can be others' strengths. And also they can expand their new market and also low still. And lastly, there is for us to consider is firstly they need to communicate each other to know each other, and also they have to consider about language as well, and they can afford more people. Last one is they still have a fungus problem with supplier.
Today I'm going to analyze two salesmen who are completely different. One is Alex Hoffman, who is one of the base salesmen. His sales has always been going up, and whereas Grodio Torres, his sales has always been going down. So let's see what is the problem here. Hoffman have been performed very well. However, he's not very open to communication. He's not really a team player, and we think that the cause of the problem is because he has this arrogance because he has always been able to do a great job with the high sales, and there is no trust formed between him and the new supervisor. What about Torres? The problem with Torres is that he is very intimidated working with a big customer, unlike Hoffman, which is his specialization. And therefore, Torres really want to work more with this new customer. He wants to use his creative idea to build a website. So what is the analyzation? By using the Herzberg motivation theory, we believe that both of these salesmen did not really achieve the satisfaction level. Their hygiene level is not high enough, and there is no recognition, achievement, and the advancement within the company. So what is the solution that we want to propose? First of all, with Hoffman, we think that it is good enough for Hoffman to have a reward system for him and to have him to target the customer base that he is confident at. Why this will work? Because Hoffman will have his level of recognition and therefore satisfied with his job and will be more open because he recognizes as being very good. With Torres, we think that we have to involve his creative ideas and let him to target the customer base and create the customer service side that he wants it to do. And by default, we think that we could achieve a high-level hygiene of the Herzberg theory. Thank you.
So the topic I have chosen is Cerevega. The problems I've noticed is punctuality and family leave. I believe this is caused between family issues. She's Hispanic, so she's very family orientated, and she's been looking after her cousin's baby. And she prioritizes family over work, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different culture. So I think the best way to combat this is introduce flex time and have core hours in the business, and then have flexible hours around that core hours. This way, it will allow her to be more punctual. I also noticed she has inconsistent sales due to her strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, I think we should do a SWOT analysis to identify those and offer training to combat the weaknesses. There's also the issue of Richardson considering reporting her to personnel due to her family leave, because Richardson feels as though she should prioritize work over family. So I think Richardson should have some cultural awareness training because she's not understanding that people have different values and prioritizations than her, and she's expecting everyone to be the same as her, which is not very realistic. If we manage to do these solutions, I believe that Sarah Vega will be a great asset to this business, and Richardson will be a better manager for this.
Okay, so Nick Ruiz and Chelsea Peterson are both store merchandisers for ColorTech, and both of them are interested in a promotion to account representative. The issue with this is that there is no position currently available in the Phoenix office for account representative, and Ruiz is incredibly enthusiastic, almost to the point of being obnoxious, while Peterson has a negative attitude overall. I believe these are caused by Richardson's selective perception of both of them. Prior to meeting either of them, Richardson knew that Ruiz wanted a promotion because of the notes that her predecessor had about him. They had mentioned that he wanted a promotion. And that allowed her to anchor herself to that opinion and have a more positive perception of Ruiz. However, her first interaction with Peterson was more negative, and therefore that allowed her to influence her perception of Peterson in a more negative way. I believe these models could be potential solutions to this issue, and I believe that the ethical decision criteria model, particularly justice, could be applied to both of these as well. The job characteristics model will allow Richardson to create an evaluation system, reward system, and a feedback system in which she can give rewards, feedback, and evaluate her team in a more equal manner, and in doing so, she would need to use the justice ethical decision criteria model by creating fair guidelines for all of them to follow. And in training and development, particularly through apprenticeship, Richardson can offer both Ruiz and Peterson the opportunity to be apprentices to any of the account representatives, and that would give them more equal footing for when a position does open up. Next slide. I believe that the HR dilemma problem being that there will be a potential gender discrimination lawsuit, is a cause of a lot of the previously mentioned issues as well. For example, I believe that not only can the causes from the previous slide be applied here, but I think additional causes of the problems are that Richardson received insufficient training from ColorTech regarding HR, and that Richardson had accepted Ruiz's application without a position being open, which he should not have done. Additional solutions to this problem would be that ColorTech should provide more training and development to Richardson, particularly in the Department of Human Resources. And since Richardson is a valuable employee to ColorTech, especially since she made the Lowe's deal, they should have her work on this Lowe's deal with her team and give her the opportunity to work out her issues with Peterson on a one-on-one manner, however, include an HR representative as a mediator in those meetings.
So now I'm going to explain about Richardson's personality traits based on the case study. So we have classified under positive traits and negative traits. Overall, we think despite of her efforts to build up a good relationship with her team, there are communication problems due to lack of motivation and experience, which lead to problems within her team. We can see that Richardson tries to multitask too much, spending hours working on sales report, monthly expense report, and so on. So in this case, it is advisable for Richardson to delegate work to her subordinates instead of trying to do everything by herself. Also, have a two-way communication in the way of feedback or something like that. This could lead to effective communication and a better performance within the team. However, with reference to the individual personalities of each, we can see that one common motivation strategy, this does not work with everyone, so we should try motivating her sales team based on their personality.
So now I'm going to explain about Campbell's personality traits based on the case study. So we classified it under positive traits and negative traits. And overall, we think that even though she delegates a lot of work to the subordinates, but she doesn't have a good relationship with them. And also, she should know the potential of her subordinates well. So according to the case study, we can clearly see that she currently adopts a laissez-faire leadership style, where she basically delegates work without clear instructions, and thus a hand-off approach, and also allows the group members to make most of the decisions. And so therefore, while she doesn't even visit the office, she does not even visit the office often. It is advisable for her to adopt an autocratic or a democratic leadership style, mainly due to the fact that her subordinates lack mainly experience, knowledge, and therefore there are personalities like Sarah, who is unfocused and distracted from events outside of work, thus who needs clear instructions and supervision to keep her on track. Also, when explaining her motivation techniques, she's a person who seems to be motivated by setting up goals and achieving them, where Campbell clearly tells Richardson that she should keep her eyes on the prize. But however, when relating this to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Campbell thinks Richardson needs to fulfill esteem needs, whereas in reality, Richardson had not even met her social needs at work. So it is advisable for Campbell to help Richardson to achieve her social needs before asking her to achieve her esteem needs.
So now I'm going to talk about the problems and causes of problem between Richardson and Campbell. The first problem is communication gap. Richardson did not have proper communication with Campbell after the interview. The cause for this problem is that Campbell has busy schedule and improper time management. The next problem is frustration. Going through the case, we came to know that Campbell used to give a lot of assignments and reports to Richardson. Since Richardson already have a lot of work to do, and because of her weak team, she could not finish the work before the deadline. And by saying this, Campbell used to get frustrated, which is not good for a boss in the company. Last but not the least, the problem is perception and decision making, and this is because of organizational cultural differences between the Campbell and Richardson.
And now I'm going to present about the solutions that Melissa Richardson and Beth Campbell should overcome. And the most necessary thing they need to do is they need to have more communication with each other. Even though they have a busy schedule and they're having trouble managing time, they need to have at least one face-to-face meeting at a week, because by this face-to-face communication, they can share each other's opinion very effectively by giving a feedback to each other's opinion very immediately. And this can lead them to have a more better result. And also, by having a face-to-face communication, they can share each other's personal affairs, and they can make a friendly atmosphere between each other, and this can lead to a better teamwork.
So in this case, Melissa Richardson's leadership, we're going to talk about some problems and the cause of problems, and then solutions. Well, the problems was about team performance, and she has no managerial experience, and she didn't talk with a member of the team, and she has no contact with HR. And because of problems is her team wasn't creative and adaptable, and they didn't ask help for each other, and the most important thing was they didn't focus on managerial training, and the HR part was very weak. And solutions are, I think it would be great if they provide some more in-depth training, and then create open channels of communication with the team, and they should become a transactional leader.